From the 1011 Now streaming studio, this is The Night Beat.
Sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Lincoln.
Good evening, I'm Jessica Blum alongside WOWT's Aaron Sullivan with your headlines for Wednesday, November 19th. We'll check in with our Omaha sister station in a moment, but first, an update tonight. Lincoln police say a teenager is dead after a crash in southwest Lincoln. LPD says around 2:30 Tuesday afternoon, a 17-year-old motorcyclist and a 69-year-old driver of an SUV collided at the intersection of West South and Southwest 23rd Streets. That's near Roper Elementary. The woman told officers she heard the motorcycle approaching but didn't see it until she was starting to turn. That's when they say she stopped the SUV in the street and the teen tried laying down his bike.
He slid more than 100 feet and collided with the driver's side door of the SUV. The bike slid almost 400 feet before coming to a rest. He was wearing a helmet, and speed is believed to be a factor in the crash.
The 17-year-old was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and he died hours later. Police say the investigation is ongoing. At this time, no citations have been given. The holiday season is fast approaching, and a popular Christmas wish list item for many kids is a bike. A local nonprofit that focuses on repairing and donating used bikes is gearing up ahead of time and needs your help to make these kids' wishes come true. The Lincoln Bike Kitchen is working hard to make sure cycling is for all by handing out free bikes. Recently, they had one of their largest requests ever from Everett Elementary, 145 bicycles. Currently, they are in short supply of bikes heading into the holiday season. So far, they've donated over 2,000 bikes to people in need, and they've surpassed last year's total, projecting to hand out 2,200 bikes this year.
A lot of us remember that first bike that we had, growing up as a kid and the freedom that you felt. But there's a lot of kids that just their families can't afford to get those kids a bike.
If you have a children's bike that is no longer being used and it is still in working condition or in need of a few repairs, the Bike Kitchen is asking you to consider donating it to their shop in the Telegraph District. And speaking of giving, your old ornaments could bring a smile to people in Lincoln. The Friendship Home is currently housing 234 individuals, more than half of them being children, as a shelter for those looking to transition out of situations of domestic violence. With so many calling their shelters home this holiday season, they're turning to the community for help decorating them. This year, they're asking for donations of new and gently used ornaments, lights, wreaths, Christmas trees, and other seasonal staples, all of which can be spreading the holiday spirit in their two shelter homes here in Lincoln. Staff says that this time of the year, they typically see an increase for requests for services and intakes, and even a few ornaments can go a long way.
But we need trees, garlands, wreaths, lights, all of that good stuff. When you are leaving a crisis situation such as domestic violence, your first instinct is not to grab the Christmas decorations or the holiday decorations. So that might mean a survivor just feels, 10%, a little bit more joy around the holidays for something that they weren't able to bring themselves.
The shelter is hoping to accept donations by November 28th. A full list of items being requested, as well as how to make a donation, can be found on Friendship Home of Lincoln's social media and website. Sticking with that topic, statistics show 1/3 of women murdered in the U.S. are killed by an intimate partner. Countless others endure abuse that never makes the headlines. It's time to speak up, support survivors, and shine a light on the resources available in our communities. 1011, together with our Nebraska partners, is committed to raising awareness and offering hope to those impacted. Watch our hour-long, streaming-only special, Break the Silence on Domestic Violence, on November 25th at 7 p.m. on the 1011 Now app on Roku. Now let's turn to our Omaha sister station, WOWT, for a look at some of their top stories. First Alert 6 anchor Aaron Sullivan joins us now with the latest tonight. Aaron?
Good evening, Jessica. Yes, today the Omaha tribe of Nebraska passed its rules and regulations for medical cannabis. They tell us that the next step is going to be establishing application requirements for growers, sellers, and distributors. So they're hoping to discuss that at their next meeting in December. You'll remember earlier this month, Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers said anyone who goes to tribal land to buy medical marijuana does that at, quote, their own peril. However, the tribe tells us that they are legally allowed to sell medical cannabis to non-tribal members. Also today, a hearing to possibly dismiss a lawsuit challenging the state's ability to hand over a correctional facility to ICE is now being put off until December. It was set for next week. At the end of December, a judge ruled that ICE could move forward with using the former work ethic camp in McCook. The judge also allowed the lawsuit to proceed, which claims only the Nebraska legislature has the authority to change the purpose of any public building. And we are still waiting tonight on important details after a man was shot inside of an Uber in Omaha last night. In a police report released today, we did learn some new details about what happened. We learned that shell casings were found outside of a home about a block away from where the shooting was reported at 46th and Fort in Omaha. Police say a 19-year-old told them he was shot inside the car. He is expected to survive, but right now we do not have any details on the shooter. Police are asking if anyone knows anything that could help detectives in this case to contact Omaha Crime Stoppers, and a reminder that you can remain anonymous. That's what we're tracking tonight in Omaha. Jessica, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. In other news tonight, the unicameral will gavel in for its first next session in just about 50 days. And while the budget is expected to take up the majority of the focus, there's more to be done. First Five Nebraska is pushing for the extension of childcare subsidies introduced as LB 304 in the last session. In 2021, Nebraska raised income requirements for the Child Care Assistance Program from 130% of the federal poverty line to 185%, meaning a family of four could make up to $59,000 a year and qualify, while still paying 7% of their income towards child care.
For center-based care, you're looking at $9,000 to $15,000 per child. Right, at $59,000 for a family of four, so let's assume that means 2 children, that's likely beyond your economic reach.
Without the subsidy, families would go from paying 7% of their annual income to 65%, the high cost of leading to difficult decisions, like parents potentially leaving the workforce altogether, something Bass said leads to billions in rippling losses to our economy. In Husker sports tonight, Dayton Raiola, the 3-star passer in the 2026 class and younger brother of Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola, announced Wednesday that he's taking his talents elsewhere. Deciding to decommit from the Big Red on social media, he reposted an article about the decision earlier in the day. He currently starts at Buford High School in Georgia, the same place his brother played. Dayton first committed to Nebraska last September, and the announcement comes just 2 weeks before signing day. Finally, tonight, and rounding out your night beat, is a check of the 7-day forecast. We have been trending cooler through the rest of the work week, down around 50 degrees over the coming days with some cloud cover, some possible fog, and some light drizzle in the early morning hours of Thursday. If we don't see the fog Thursday, we're warming up a little bit more mild before a brief cool down for Friday with a chance of rain, especially in southern Nebraska. But then we're in for a nice weekend ahead with temperatures rising to the 60s.
You've been listening to The Night Beat.
Sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Lincoln.
Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 app on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.